What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty with the GoPro clipped to my head, and this is the all-new 2025 Kia K4. And who's ready for a test drive? Now, this K4 is an EX trim, which is the top trim level for now. And we're going to be taking this for a little test drive. But first, I'm going to walk you quickly around it, open up some doors, just so you get an idea on what it's like. So very kind of flat and closed off front end here, and a pretty cool style to the hood. So as you can see, there's quite the angle right about there, and it goes down into the grille. We have 17-inch wheels for the EX trim, 225/45 rubber. LED headlights up front, blind spot warning, nice morning haze paint color, and we have a green cloth interior. Yes, green. So we're working with a particular price of $25,390, and we have this pretty cool rear door handle situation here, where it's kind of like on the pillar, and then a very hard angle coming up towards the roof there, 90-degree angle there. Gives for a pretty cool styling. Now, I think there really isn't an angle on this car that isn't kind of funky and quirky, which is cool. Partial LED tail lamps back here too. And there's definitely no doubt about it, this car is funky looking, and the funkiness doesn't stop on the inside. Let's pop open the trunk quickly. Pretty big trunk, and pretty simple too. We have some pull tabs to fold it down 60/40 split the rear seats, and we do have a spare tire underneath. And let's open up the rear using this very strange handle, and there is still a little bit of sunlight on the rear door so that you could see that green interior color. Very, very neat. Kind of a jade green, and the seats are also kind of mostly gray, but there is a green tint to them. I'm 5'10", and I adjusted the front seat to a normal driving position for myself, and I still have quite a bit of legroom back here. You have USB-C chargers, and it is pretty roomy. You have these little humps on the backs of the seat where you can kind of hold on to and get out, or use them as a coat hook. I really like that design. Up front, a little bit nicer materials. We have soft touch up here, and as you can see, the driver's door is mostly black. And that is the only door on this car that is mostly black, because as you can see, the passenger side is green, and they do that to kind of flow in the dashboard, because this side is black, that side is green, and they kind of just mix it in pretty nicely. That's cool. Nice looking and very comfortable seats, 6-way manually adjusting for the driver. And let's start her up. We have this very funky square steering wheel with the offset Kia emblem on the airbag cover. And again, you could probably see a little bit better the green dashboard on the passenger side. Very, very interesting and cool. Now, we also have this totally different touchscreen. So there's like 3 different screens here. The screen right in front of you, this one in the middle just for climate, and then the rest for kind of all your infotainment. But other than that, it's a pretty simple interior, and actually a pretty good looking car. Let's see how it drives. Let's do safety first here and buckle up. And let's take the K4 for a test drive. Okay, so setting off and beginning our test drive, I did want to mention to you guys, now if you're interested in seeing a full features review on this particular car, the exterior, trunk space inside the engine bay, the rear seats, and kind of all a demonstration of all this technology up front, I have filmed a video like that as well. So you either wait till the end of this video and you'll see a little pop-out link for you, or you can check out my channel, Ty Drives, for more. Now, I did drive this car quickly just to the car wash, and I have to say, I was very impressed by the way this drives. I mean, it's a pretty cheap car. $25,000 is definitely pretty cheap for a car nowadays, and up at 45-ish miles an hour, it drives fantastically, actually. There's very minimal road noise, barely any tire noise. I can hear some of the oncoming traffic, but that is to be expected in this class of car. But I have to say, it's a really, really nice driving car, especially for this price point. And actually, this square style steering wheel feels pretty good in the hands too. It's actually really comfy, and it kind of inspires some confidence going around some corners, so that's pretty cool. Now, throughout this test drive, once we get off this main road here, it's going to be all back roads. So we're going to do an acceleration test, follow that up with a braking test, kind of hit a bumpy road to test out the suspension, and so it's going to be a good feel of how this car drives. Now, right here is where we'll do our acceleration test. We'll get it up to 25 miles per hour, then hit the throttle as much as we can, and we'll see how we can get up to 60. I'll put the driving mode into sport, and we're at 25. Here we go. Yeah, so the sport mode definitely raises up the RPMs to give you a kind of a punch of power. Now, not a whole lot of power coming from this car. It is a 2-liter, naturally aspirated, so no turbochargers or anything. So it's a 2-liter, 4-cylinder engine, 147 horsepower, and 132 pound-feet of torque. So I suppose it is plenty of power to scoot this car along. Although once you get on the highway, you know, it might struggle a little bit for passing power and things like that. But around town, it is just fine. Now, all that power is hooked up to a CVT, or single-speed continuously variable transmission, and front-wheel drive is the only drivetrain available for the K4. Now, I do hear there is a more sporty version coming, the GT, with a bit more power, and I'd like to drive that car, because we recently drove the Forte GT with the 1.6, I believe it was, turbocharged engine, had about 200 horsepower, and that car I was actually very impressed with. So I think that engine would work very nicely in this car, and a little bit more of a sporty package. Now, this is more of a bumpy road, but we're not really feeling the bumps too much, because this is a pretty comfortable suspension setup, I must say. And we do have 17-inch wheels on this car, so they're not huge wheels, so we don't get any jarring bumps or anything like that. And yeah, it's actually a surprisingly very comfortable suspension setup. Now, the CVT transmission does do a fairly decent job at simulating gear shifts, so it does sound like a more traditional transmission with gears, but at the end of the day, you can still tell that it's a CVT. It definitely has those characteristics. And it doesn't feel too bad around the corners, you know, not taking that corner too fast whatsoever. But it does feel pretty flat, and there's a little bit of body roll, but it does feel pretty good. And at one point when I was driving this car to the car wash, I thought to myself, you know, with this partial green interior and just kind of the quiet overall and relaxed driving experience, it almost feels somewhat of a zenful driving experience. Not quite sure why, but that is the word that popped into my head. Now, I wanted to touch on the seats too. We've been driving this car for a little bit now, you know, and obviously not a long trip or anything, but initially these seats do feel very comfortable. You know, once I found a good spot where I was comfy with the adjustments, it does feel pretty comfy. The seats are pretty plush, and the material they use for the cloth is very, very soft. All the technology in this car is very intuitive too. Excuse me. Now, you do have the touchscreen for the climate controls, but they also give you kind of all the essentials here, both temperatures, fan speed, and the kind of where you want the air to blow there. So you don't have to use that climate control. And I find in most driving scenarios, the steering wheel kind of blocks most of it anyways. But if you did want to use that, there are some more controls there in case. But the touchscreen, this screen right in front of us, are very intuitive, show you all the information you need. And it's very easy to get used to. And basically, to sum up the K4, I do like this car. A very daring styling on the outside and the interior, but it does spice it up a bit. Everything's very user-friendly in here, and the driving experience is rather nice at this price point. So thank you very much for watching this video, and by now the link to the full features view should be popping up, so make sure you check out that, and we'll catch you next time.